and a very warm welcome to you all. I'm Neha Bhardwaj-Alter and this is Game On. Now, we all know the power India has over all the stakeholders of world cricket, but it seems the sport's most influential administrator is ready to run the world body. Yes, that's right. Looks like Jay Shah will take over world cricket as he's reportedly set to succeed Greg Barclay as the new chairman of the International Cricket Council. According to a report in The Edge, Barclay's resignation was amid a US $3 billion dispute between the governing body and its major broadcast rights holder, Star. The report also adds that New Zealander Barclay told ICC directors, including Cricket Australia's chair Mike Baird, of his intention to resign during a video conference after being informed by Shah in recent days that the BCCI secretary wished to replace him in November and had the numbers to do so. While Barclay was eligible for another 2-year term, Shah has won support from Australia and England, among other countries, to run the ICC for at least 3 years under a revised constitution. ICC spokesperson has said, and I quote, ICC Chair Greg Barclay confirmed to the board that he will not stand for a third term and will step down from the post when his current tenure finishes at the end of November. Barclay was appointed as the independent ICC chair in November 2020 before being re-elected in 2022. Current directors are now required to put forward nominations for the next chair by 27th of August 2024. And if there's more than one candidate, an election will be held with the term of the new chair commencing on 1st of December 2024. So Barclay was appointed as the independent ICC chair in 2020 before being re-elected in 2022. How does this election work now? For the chairman's position, it is determined by 16 votes with a simple majority of 9 votes required to win. Previously, a 2/3 majority was necessary to become the chairman. Current directors are now required to put forward nominations for the next chair, like I said, by 27th August, if there are more than one candidate. An election will be held with the new term that commences on 1st of December. With Barclay's tenure ending, each of those 16 directors can file for nomination to succeed him. If there are multiple nominations, the election will be held. Now, besides being the BCCI secretary, Shah is also the chair of the ICC's Finance and Commercial Affairs Subcommittee. Shah has 1 year left as the BCCI secretary before he must undergo a mandatory cooling off period of 3 years starting 2025. According to the BCCI constitution approved by the Supreme Court, an office bearer can serve for 6 years before a required cooling off period of 3 years. Overall, a person can serve for a cumulative period of 18 years, 9 years in a state association and 9 years in the BCCI. If Shah decides to move to the ICC with 1 year left in his BCCI secretaryship, he will still have 4 years remaining in the BCCI upon his return. Shah, 35, will become the youngest to head the ICC. He will join the ranks of Jagmohan Dalmia, Sharad Pawar, N. Srinivasan and Shashank Manohar, the Indians who served as ICC's chiefs in the past. Unlike the incumbent, the new chairman will hold a term of 3 years. Currently, the term of the chair is for 2 years. Barclay was appointed as the independent ICC chair in November 2020 and he was re-elected in 2022. I have my colleague Sumit Channa who joins me here to discuss this latest story and what this means for Indian cricket, what this means for Mr. Jay Shah himself in terms of his legacy as an administrator, cricket administrator, when he goes up to head world cricket. Sumit, thanks so much for joining us here.
Thank you.
This is, we all knew who's really, where the power lies in world cricket. We knew, given the financial heft that BCCI has, right, India has. But now this is almost like it's out there for everyone. It's official now, right, that it's India and the BCCI that will decide which direction world cricket will go in.
Yeah, I think this step was always in the offing, Neha.
Yeah.
And considering the stronghold the Board of Control for Cricket in India has over the entire ICC and all other cricketing bodies. So this was always there. This had to happen. And looking at the vote share Jay Shah needs, right, to win the election, it's like 9 out of total 16 votes.
Yeah.
That means 51% of the entire share. So considering the equation he has with all other members of the board, this will truly go in his favor. And this is going to bring some respite also. We hope so. Well, we hope so if it brings some respite and change in fortune to the basically to ICC's finances, which have been hit badly in the past few years.
And which is also what is added to that, ICC's finances being hit, is over expenditure during the World Cup in the United States and the Caribbean, which is the other thing. Now, BCCI, of course, is the richest board. But when you talk about the ICC, it's been struggling with the finances, especially for the smaller boards. At the same time, you know, the relevance of World Cups, the relevance of Test cricket in today's time with you know, burgeoning franchise cricket with leagues all around the world. I think one of the biggest challenges that Jay Shah would have is how to balance it out, how to make sure that you know, that aura around World Cups, that aura around Test cricket remains. At the same time, how to pull in the money for you know, red ball cricket.
Yeah, it will be very tricky for Jay Shah. But having seen his record from 2019, how he has fared and how he has worked and how much success he has brought to the Board of Control for Cricket in India, the BCCI, and also to the domestic other cricket leagues around India. So that is, but it will be tricky for him. It will be tricky for him. He'll have to balance, he'll have to maintain that balance and ensure that everything goes on smoothly. And he might be the fortune driver, as I said, for the ICC, hopefully. And having said that, the BCCI, which is the richest board in the country, in the world, is set to become richer with Jay Shah at the helm. If it happens, actually, time will tell. So it will definitely up its quotient and all.
Yeah, which is the, you know, I think the one thing now, and there are memes already that have started on social media, like we see with all the, you know, big stories, is that what's the first thing that Jay Shah is going to do as he takes on that chair? Everybody's talking about the Champions Trophy, right?
Absolutely.
And my thing is that anyway, we knew there's no way India is traveling to Pakistan, given the geopolitical tensions between the two countries, given what happened even during Asia Cup, made sure that it happened in a neutral location. But now what do you think he will look to do? Because this is Champions Trophy. And he's, you know, being BCCI's secretary is very different from being the chairman of the ICC. Obviously. There are different stakeholders that you have to be mindful of, to make sure that, you know, everybody is together, agreeing to a decision. So it'll be interesting how he deals with that, because Pakistan is going to be very unhappy. We know Champions Trophy is going to be, in all probability, moved up because India is not going to go there. But what will be the venue? Where will it be held? All those conversations will be very important.
Yeah, definitely. And I think during the Asia Cup 2023, Jay Shah wasn't associated with the ICC directly. Like he was part of the BCCI. He was the BCCI secretary. And apart from that, it took that decision was changed. And the Asia Cup was moved to a neutral venue. Right. So this decision is also certain. Now, if he takes over Greg Barclay as the new ICC chairman, this decision is certain that he'll have to this
it goes
the venue.
To a neutral,
exactly.
Of course.
It will go to the neutral venue. And the other thing is that since we have heard, since reports are saying that he has major support from other two big boards, other two basically the powerhouses apart from the Indian Cricket Board, Australia and England. If he has the support from both these boards, so he'll have to work in their favor also in times to come.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to keep everybody happy.
Certainly.
That's what leadership is all about.
That's what I said. It will be tricky for him to maintain that balance, and the job change from a BCCI secretary to being an ICC chairman is way too different, and it's big.
Yeah. All right, with that, we've come to the end of this conversation. But Sumit, thank you so much for putting this all in perspective for us. Thanks again. Okay, we'll move on. India's double bronze medalist at the Paris Games, Manu Bhaker, soaking in all the attention she's been getting since her return to India. Manu has spoken about what it takes to win medals at the Olympics and what's the difference between India and the other developed nations.
I think when it comes to shooting as a sport in India, we have a huge potential and we have so much of talent in our country. For shooting especially, I can talk. So, I mean, if we put in more resources and more efforts into shooting, I think even better can be, the results can be improved. And we finished 3 medals and 3 bronzes. So I think we can do it even better in the future. But the efforts and the kind of resources that we put behind shooting and like the junior programs or how we take athletes from a very young age, I think all that needs to be started and all that needs to be very persistent. So it cannot be like one Olympics we are getting 3 medals. Last Olympics the performance was not up to the mark. This Olympics people performed really well. I think we are on the way of progression. But we still can do many things to improve it even further. We can take it even further.
On to tennis now. Top-ranked tennis player Yannick Sinner had tested positive twice for a banned anabolic steroid in March and was stripped of prize money and points earned at the tournament in Indian Wells. But he will not be suspended, as an independent tribunal has ruled that the drug was not taken intentionally. The International Tennis Integrity Agency announced its findings yesterday. The 23-year-old Sinner won the Cincinnati Open on Monday and will be among the favorites at the US Open, which starts in New York next week. Sinner made his debut at #1 in ATP rankings in June and is considered among the top stars of the new generation in men's tennis, along with Carlos Alcaraz. During the Indian Wells hardcourt event in March, Sinner tested positive for low levels of a metabolite of colestibol. It's a banned anabolic steroid that can be used for ophthalmological and dermatological use. Sinner tested positive again 8 days later in an out-of-competition sample. He was provisionally suspended because of those test results, but he successfully appealed and was allowed to keep competing on tour. According to the ITIA, Sinner said his test results happened because a member of his support team used an over-the-counter spray that contained colestibol to treat a small wound. The team member then gave Sinner massages. The ITIA said it accepted Sinner's explanation and determined the violation was not intentional. An independent panel held a hearing on August 15th and determined a finding of no fault or negligence applied in the case, resulting in no period of inability. A new exhibition looking at the evolution of Formula One will open in London this week as the motorsport celebrates its 74th year. The exhibition at the Excel Centre has 6 galleries that feature memorabilia from F1's best teams, state-of-art simulators that offer members of the public an opportunity to get behind the wheel of an F1 car, and 7 legendary championship-winning cars that include drivers Lewis Hamilton's 2018 Mercedes-AMG F1 W09 and Max Verstappen's 2021 RB16B. The organizers are claiming to have almost all of the Formula One teams contributing to the show. Among other exhibits, it'll also put on display the first championship-winning car of Brazil's legendary driver Ayrton Senna, who won the 1988 Drivers' Championship in McLaren MP4x4. Senna's 1988 season was considered one of the most dominant in Formula One history, with 8 races and a podium finish in all but one. The exhibition will be open to public from Friday.
So the Formula One exhibition is a storytelling experience. I think that's the best way to describe it. Stretched over 7 individually designed galleries, each of them a new world that we have created that provides a different perspective on the sport's past, present and future. So the show has taken 7 years to put together, and a lot of that time has been spent really building trust and relationships with different teams and personalities. It's almost been like a giant treasure hunt, if I'm honest with you, piecing together examples of the sport's innovations and engineering, items, artifacts, interesting pieces that can support the wealth of stories that exist across the whole exhibition. But we now have nearly all of the Formula One teams contributing to the show. Many of them are coming today, and it's a great privilege to be bringing the exhibition to London, which is really the home of the sport.
On to football news, and contrary to media reports, French football star Kylian Mbappe is still finalizing exit terms with its former club Paris Saint-Germain following his move to La Liga giants Real Madrid. The star striker moved to the Bernabeu on a free transfer, signing a 5-year contract with a €150 million signing-on fee in June. But prior to his transfer to the La Liga giants, Mbappe had an agreement with PSG that he would not leave the club for free. It was agreed with PSG President Nasser Al-Khelaifi that even if Mbappe left on a free transfer, the reigning League One champions would not be left out of pocket. Mbappe made legal commitments to waive certain financial entitlements, including bonuses. While the final amount of the financial waiver is being agreed, PSG has deferred Mbappe's wages from April to compel him to honor his commitment. According to French publication Le Monde, a few weeks ago, Mbappe's representatives had contacted the Ligue des Football Professionnels and the UEFA through the French Football Federation and claimed that PSG owned the player €55 million. However, no legal suit has been filed. There were reports in a section of media that that Mbappe has filed a lawsuit against his former club, Paris Saint-Germain. Mbappe has moved to PSG, or has moved from PSG to Real Madrid for a $16.2 million 5-year deal. Reports suggested that he had initiated legal action over a staggering $61.6 million in unpaid wages. The move could have potentially led to PSG's expulsion from the UEFA Champions League. However, PSG at this stage is in no danger of being kicked out of the Champions League due to the current situation. PSG have also not received any communication from UEFA, the FFF or the LFP. With the Paralympic Games in Paris scheduled to start on 28th of August, preparations at the Games Village are in full swing. The village will open its doors for the arrival of participating athletes in the last week of August. Pictures of the Fiji, the mascot for the Paralympics, adorn the walls at the village in Saint-Denis, which will welcome more than 4,400 Paralympic athletes from 171 countries. Some athletes are already on site, but the official opening of the village is planned for tomorrow. This village, already in use during the Olympics, has been redesigned to accommodate all types of disabilities. It is equipped with buggies to help the athletes get around and also offers adapted flats with accessible beds and bathrooms. For the first time, the Prosthetics or Orthotics and Wheelchairs Repair Center is located in the heart of the village. The center is expected to carry out almost 200 repairs every day during the Games. Olympics and Paralympics Village Director Laurent Michaud, he said no major problems were identified during the Olympics and that very few repairs had to be carried out between the two events. Former Paralympic swimmer from the USA, Ludivine Munoz, highlighted the importance of the village for para-athletes.
It leaves a very important legacy because it's a bit like Disneyland for people with disabilities, where everything has been planned and thought through down to the smallest detail. Everything has been thought through so that people with disabilities can enjoy the same experience as everyone else. There are some very concrete examples, such as the balconies. Often to get onto a balcony, you have to step over the edge of the balcony to get outside. But not at all. Everything is on the same level, so you can have your coffee on the balcony with your wheelchair or with someone who has prosthetics. They won't have to step over it either, because sometimes, I promise you, it's not easy. And also, all the rooms have an accessible bathroom and a normal one, which means we don't have to change the configurations of the pairs of athletes when choosing the apartment. All the rooms are accessible.
The face-off between former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson and YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul set the stage on fire for their rescheduled fight on November 15th. During a news conference in New York, Paul and Tyson shoved each other and exchanged threats following the postponement of their original bout, which was postponed from the 20th of July schedule due to Tyson's medical issues.
I'm just ready. You know, I'm going to do my talk and I'm going to talk my shit, but I'm ready to fight.
Your tummy hurt? Your tummy hurt still?
I feel a lot better now.
I love Mike, I respect him, but we're not friends anymore. Until November 15th, I'm knocking this out, and we're going to see who's dead. We will see who's dead. We will see who's dead, Mike. We will. They'll never give me credit. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. If I was walking on water, they would say it's because I couldn't swim.
Well, that's it then on the special. Hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Fast.
My God, isn't she your daughter?
Yes.
She's playing football. This is boys' game. Make her study. If she doesn't get a good job, she will get a good match. Will you win the world by playing football?
Yes, auntie. My daughter will win the world by playing football.
Let's go to Germany.
World's largest football talent hunt, NEWS9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BBB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.
Donald Trump's statements are getting bizarre by the day. A few days ago, Donald Trump claimed that a large gathering of plainly evident people who greeted Vice President Kamala Harris at a rally in Detroit didn't exist. In fact, there is a laundry list of such outlandish claims. But why? Why is Trump increasingly clinging to conspiracy theories? Is Kamala's campaign making Trump anxious? NEWS9 Plus decodes. He has definitely become desperate. At least that's what Trump's former aide says. Sarah Matthews, Trump's former aide, said he has become desperate because of the surge in support for his political opponent. She also went on to claim that Trump feels this election is slipping away from him. Which other bizarre statements has Trump made? Trump has launched a scathing line of attack against his rival's racial identity, expressing confusion with the dual black and Indian origins. I didn't know she was black until a few years ago, he had claimed. Then he accused her of using AI. Trump has claimed that an image of thousands of people waiting at Detroit's airport at Harris's arrival for a campaign rally was fabricated with the help of artificial intelligence. In another instance, Trump said President Joe Biden had prepared to have the FBI assassinate him. He also accused Biden of faking COVID, and the list goes on. What is Trump's current campaign looking like? Weak, lost, scattered. Before Biden dropped out of the race, Trump's campaign was built around bashing him. Biden's frailty and questionable mental acuity made it only easier for Trump to bash him. Kamala, however, is no Biden. She's younger, more energetic, and far more coherent. Clearly, Trump is clueless. So instead of building a smarter campaign against Harris, Trump has resorted to racism, revival of old grudges, insults, and bizarre conspiracy theories. Is Trump's new strategy working for him? Poll survey says absolutely not. A New York Times poll published on the 10th of August showed Harris leading by 4 points in the crucial battleground states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. When Biden was a candidate, Trump was either slightly ahead of Biden or the two men were neck to neck. What has changed? Apart from Trump's ramblings, which have become more outlandish by the day, the media coverage has taken a 360-degree turn. A month ago, every headline questioned Biden's mental competence. Now, they're focused on Trump's unhinged statements. While Kamala's campaign exudes confidence and clarity, Trump is embroiled in chaos. Perhaps Trump's fantasies have become wilder. For an opponent, he's afraid to even debate to somehow vanish, and the one he was defeating to return.
Joe Biden is not going to be the Democratic presidential nominee.
I made my choice. Kamala Harris. She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds, predators. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
I am the one saving democracy.
He has tapped into the fear and anxiety about demographic change in the US.
This polarization in the United States. Some people are even suggesting that there could be a civil war.
You are this unable to solve your own domestic problems. You have no right to claim to be anybody else in the world. And we're moving into a multipolar world where the United States will not lead.
This and more. Streaming on News9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Why is the state not looking at putting an embargo on that?
As a Telangana person, I will not accept.
How do ordinary folks deal with this?
This is News9 Live, India's only digital exclusive live stream. For the early adopters, bringing you the news 24/7. For the small audiences on the smartest TVs. News9 Live. Stream now on your smart TVs.
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface but not the living people?
जानना है तो देखिए, समझना है तो सुनिए, सीखना है तो पूछिए, और कमाना है तो खरीदिए। जानकारी, सलाह और निवेश सब एक ही सुपर ऐप पर। पैसे का सवाल है तो जवाब है Money9। आजादी पैसे की, अभी डाउनलोड करें।
Welcome to News9 Live, and you are watching On Point with me. And before I introduce you to today's On Points, let's take a quick look at the headlines. Prime Minister Modi lands in Warsaw on a historic visit, first Indian Prime Minister to visit Poland in 45 years. Kolkata rape and murder case, CBI likely to conduct ex-principal Sandeep Ghosh's polygraph test. Bharat Bandh, Bihar police lathi charges protesters, road and rail services affected in Odisha, Bihar and Jharkhand. Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge arrived in Srinagar on a two-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir. NBA calls for Maharashtra Bandh on August 24th over Badlapur sexual abuse case. Another factory disaster in Andhra, 2 killed, 18 injured in reactor explosion in Anakapalli district. Ukraine targets Moscow in one of the largest ever drone attacks as fighting rages in Kursk and eastern Ukraine. Hezbollah fires more than 50 rockets hitting Golan Heights in Israel. And yes, she can. Barack Obama praises Kamala Harris, says US ready for new chapter. PDP's chief spokesperson Suhail Bukhari quit the party ahead of the assembly polls in Jammu and Kashmir. And we are starting our special series on Jammu and Kashmir elections, which are going to be historic. The first after abrogation of Article and first after division of the state into union territories. This is an election which will take place in absence of Article 370. Suhail is a journalist and politician who closely worked with PDP President Mehbooba Mufti. He also served as an advisor when she was the Chief Minister. Let's directly speak to Suhail Bukhari in this special edition of On Point on Kashmir elections. Welcome, Suhail. And let me start the interview straight away by asking you, why did you quit PDP?
Well, thank you, Karthike. The reason for me calling it a day in PDP is more ideological than anything else. Remember, I joined this party formally in January of 2019. That's slightly more than 5 years now. That was the time when the government was gone. And there was an effort by the central government and BJP to ensure that PDP is disintegrated as a party. And the efforts made by these institutions ensured that no less than 42 leaders from a small regional party left, which also included 21 members of the last assembly, many of them ministers in the cabinet or otherwise. And that was the time when, Mehbooba Mufti Sahiba gave a war cry that, we have to stand for the rights of the people and against whatever is being perpetrated on the people of Jammu and Kashmir in terms of their rights being snatched and, all the atrocities, quote unquote, that have been happening. For me, it was a very, personal decision. I wanted to be part of that struggle for the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and so I started that journey. Over a period of time, we have seen that many people stood by the party, most of them youngsters, educated people from various parts of Jammu and Kashmir. And, they went through most difficult times because being associated with a mainstream political party, which is rooted in Kashmir particularly, and more so, People's Democratic Party, meant that you were taking a lot of risk and you were ready to take trouble. But of late, what I have seen is that those people who stood by the party, particularly youngsters from across the valley, from various constituencies, they have been neglected. And the people who had left the party at that point in time seem to be getting the space back. These are the same people who we would call traitors to the cause of Kashmir, because they played into the hands of BJP and the central government and left the party, and also somehow were tools in the hands of government of India to portray the fictitious narrative of normalcy in Kashmir. So this has been very disheartening. Hence, I was not comfortable and I put in my papers.
a lot of people were of the view that you were unhappy that the focus of the party was on Iltija and not on other leaders when Mehbooba Mufti was out in wilderness.
No, that's far from truth. Iltija is a wonderful political activist, social activist, and nobody should take away the credit from her for representing the sentiments of not only the people in the party but whole of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly through that phase of 2019 August when the Article 370 and 35A were abrogated. The whole Jammu and Kashmir, Kashmir particularly, was left incommunicado. There was no internet service, and people were put in jails. Nobody was allowed to speak, and during that time we must give credit where it is due. Iltija Mufti rose to the occasion, and she not only spoke as the daughter of Mehbooba Mufti but also an ordinary Kashmirian for everybody in Jammu and Kashmir, telling the whole world as to what
Sohail, if you have such soft view on Iltija and Mehbooba Mufti, may I ask you that what just prompted you to just leave right before the election? This decision could have come 6 months earlier. The feeling of being abandoned.
No, it was not personal. To be honest, I am the chief spokesperson of the party. I had been, and I was at the top position in the party. But the fact remains, it was not about me. It was about so many of our youngsters who had joined the party, who were part of the party through very difficult times, from very difficult constituencies like Tral, Pampo.
Are you saying, Sohail? Are you saying that the youngsters have been ignored in PDP?
I would say that many youngsters who stood by the party ensured that party stood and existed through these difficult times in various constituencies of Kashmir. Many of them have been ignored, yes. And come elections, BJP does want to get its mechanics of political management and election management into place. And since these elections are going to be very, very crucial, given that these are the first assembly elections post 2019, the abrogation and all, and the kind of message, which I personally believe is a false narrative, that sab changa si, everything is hunky dory, as far as the people of Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, and they are like so happy with what has happened. These elections are very important. The assembly that it throws up is very important. So BJP is not going to leave any stone unturned, particularly in the backdrop of the fact that many of the proxy parties that
So Aditya,
the last Lok Sabha.
Am I audible to you? Okay. So Aditya, Sohail has been saying that the youngsters had been ignored in PDP. Is it correct?
Well, there's been a feeling. There's been a feeling that ever since Iltija has come in, and she doesn't have much experience, of campaigning on the ground. Although over the last 5 years she has been on her mother's side, and now officially she is the media advisor to the former chief minister and the chief of the PDP, Mehbooba Mufti. But the question really is that does she have first the political acumen to take this battle straight against the BJP and others in Jammu and Kashmir, and to take the entire party together. Remember, Mufti Mohammad Saeed was of a completely different breed. He was a very different politician. People liked him, people disliked him, but he stood his ground, and he was the chief minister, and he has his ways with different political leaders of different ideologies. So he was one rare politician, perhaps even Farooq Abdullah to a great extent, but I don't think this new generation has been able to grasp that level of politics.
Sohail, when Ram Madhav came, a new crop of politicians were being prepared. But one thing is for sure, that in Kashmir, older political parties have their stakes. New politicians are powerful on social media, but they have not been able to create political offshoots. So in this case, do you see any possibility of a third front, Congress, NC, or a fourth front, Congress, NC and PDP, a fourth political player apart from BJP?
See, anybody who knows Kashmir and its electoral politics would know that there is anti-establishment sentiment that does exist, no matter what. You've seen that happen in the recent elections, wherein Engineer Rashid, who is languishing in jail, decides to contest parliament elections. Within 7 days of campaigning, with no resources being pumped on the ground, he defeats the mightiest of the mighty in the electoral politics, which included the bigwigs like Omar Abdullah Saab and also Sajjad Ghani Lone. And remember, Sajjad Ghani Lone and Altaf Bukhari Saab, they had come together in this election. And there's absolutely no secret about the fact that, these are the parties which have been helped big time by the government. So it's not about young lot or new political parties coming together. People here are politically mature. They see through the mechanics that are being employed, and they are wise enough to take calls accordingly.
So what is your future? Is it Congress?
I have not taken a decision yet. I have left it to my people, particularly in my constituency. Whatever they decide, whatever they think is the right way to
So are you saying that they are going to take a call between Ram and Rahul?
Well, definitely there's no call between Ram and Rahul. Ram is not even an option. But definitely whatever they think is going to be
Rahul
better
is an option
for our people.
Rahul is an option?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Rahul is an option. You have spoken about the political aspect, but there is one thing which is very surprising, which came to fore in the Lok Sabha. Successful story.